wanna know his secret?
Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Captain from the Tech Feed, and welcome to another episode of the Coding of the Interwebs. And today, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be learning more PHP. Last episode, we left off with this, and we set up a web server so we can actually run PHP. And so now I'm going to be showing you guys what this line of code that we wrote last time means. First, these PHP things just say all of my PHP code is going to be here. And this echo part says I'll put this to the screen. These quotation marks say that there's a string inside of here, which is basically a bunch of characters grouped together to form a word or a sentence. As so in this case it's just a word, and a semicolon at the end which says that this is the end of an instruction. So now that we're done with that, now we need to learn about what is known as a variable. So we can close out of this, and we can we can create a new variable. Now inside PHP, a variable always has to start with the character $sign. Well, if I can do that. $sign, trying to do that without looking down at my keyboard. So $sign, for example, hi, and we'll say $sign hi is equal to, let's say, 2. Okay, so and semicolon. And what this will do is, here's a variable hi, and it's equal to 2. Now to use that, what you need to do is, for example, to output it onto the screen, we can do echo $sign hi, and this should echo and this should, and since it says $sign hi, this means this variable here, so it should write 2 out to the screen. Let's refresh, and boom, we have 2, right? And I have no idea why that's open there, right? So now we have 2. So that's cool. So now we know something about variables. Next is an if statement, which is gonna be everything you need to make a program that basically does something other than display stuff without changing ever. And so to do an if statement, what you need to do is you put if, you type out if, and what's his name, Adam is really smart about this. If you just type an if and then you hit enter here, it'll give you out this basic template. So if, and then here you put a condition of some sort, and I'll tell you what that is in a little bit. And here is the code that executes if this condition is found to be true. Right, so here inside of condition, what we can put is, so for conditions, for example, you can put true, you can put in false, right? But these will never change. False will always not be true, and true will always be true. So those will never change. So those aren't too useful, because if you're doing true, why are you putting it inside of an if statement? If you're doing false, why is it in your code in the first place, right? So then there are other conditions, such as if something is the same as. So if for example you have 2 variables, so let's make 2 variables up here, right? So let's say $sign let's say tuna equals 5, and $sign pizza equals, let's say, 7, right? So now here we have 2 variables that have different values, and later I'll be teaching you guys how you can let the user input in values, but that's a little bit more of an advanced topic, at least considering the scope of this tutorial, because it's just the beginning of your adventure in PHP. So what you want to do now is you need to do a condition here. So what you can do is, there are many different conditions other than just true and false. You can do if tuna is greater than pizza, so $sign pizza, or you can do if tuna is greater than equal to, because if tuna was 5 and pizza was also 5, which it's not, but just assuming it, just imagine it was 5, it would not trigger the greater than sign because it's equal to. There's greater than equal to, less than equal to, less than, equals equals, which means equals to, because if you do just one equal sign, it's gonna think that you're assigning pizza to tuna, so it's basically saying, okay, so now tuna is the same as pizza. Okay, got you, right? So that's, you don't want to do that, right? And then you have an exclamation mark equals, which says if it's not the same, if they're not equal, right? So now, for example, right now I'm just gonna say $ tuna is not equal to $ pizza. We'll just say echo, well, yeah, echo not equal, right? So we'll just echo not equal, right? So now we can refresh this and it'll just say not equals. Now what we can also do is we can, now if we do 5 and 5, for example, and we refresh, nothing happens because we haven't set anything to happen if they are equal. Now this would also work if you change the condition to something like greater than equal to. So now it will say not equal because we did not change the text down here, but we could. And if we change tuna to, let's say, 2, change tuna to 2, nothing will happen because they are not, because tuna is not greater than pizza. But I know what you're saying. Wait, what if I do not want, what if I want to be able to execute something if this is not true, but if for any scenario other than this one I want to execute something? Well, that's a good question. What you can do is you can do else, the else condition. This else statement right here. So you put it right after the brackets close inside this if statement, and if you do tab here, and basically it does not have a condition thing here, but it's just like this where you can put in your code. So basically if the if statement above it is not true, it will run this code, right? So we'll say we'll just echo not true. Okay, so here, now if we refresh this one, it will say not true, right? And we'll just change this one to true. Okay, just, you know, so we can get a more accurate representation of stuff and things. So let's just say greater than, right? So now if tuna is 5 now, the condition will not be true, right? It still says not true. However, if you change it to 6, on the other hand, it will be. Now, here is the thing. Now, for example, now let's say that you want to execute the same code for this condition and also another one. Now, if another one's also the same, you want to execute it, right? Now, there are 2 ways to do this. One way you can do or, and you type in another condition here, or you can type in 2 of these pipe signs, which are above the backslash key. So shift backslash puts down these pipe signs, which is the same as typing out or. And then suppose if you want to say both of these conditions have to be true to be able to execute this code, you can use 2 %, or the and keyword, and they mean the same thing. Now, for example, what if you want to say if this happens and then I want to execute this code? So for example, we'll just write out tuna greater than, let's say tuna greater than pizza, and then if you want to have, for example, and then you want some other code to run if tuna is equal to pizza, you want some other code to run, and if neither of those happen, you want the last code to run that says nothing, right? That says not true. So you can do that using something called the if else statement right here. If else, well, actually, well, that's one way. That's what Adam says that if else is. But what I was trying to tell you guys is if else. Wait, no, else if. Sorry. Else if you can do this, and now you can put in another condition. So if tuna is not greater than pizza, and tuna is equals to pizza, we will run this code down here, which says echo tuna is equal to pizza, right? So now, if it's not equal, if neither of these conditions are true, it will execute the last else statement here, which says echo not true, right? So if none of them are true, right? Let's refresh this. Tuna is greater than pizza right now, right? Because 6 and 5. And now if you chain them both down to 5, for example, now we'll have tuna is equal to pizza, and if we change it to something like tuna, if we make tuna 2, what we can have is not true, right? Because none of the conditions over there were true, so it echoed out not true. So this is just on the basics of PHP. Now, right now, we're going to the code and we're changing these values of these variables to be able to change around the if statement and stuff. But soon, pretty soon, like maybe 4 or 5 episodes from now, we'll start getting input from the user, and we'll be able to push that onto the screen, be able to do stuff with that. But until next time, never ever cut the feed of tech.